Hi, and welcome to Video Editing 101. We're in the introductory module, and this is lesson 3, which is the third characteristic that a natural editor has, and I've labeled this musical. I've loved music my whole life. We didn't have choir in school until the 6th grade, and the summer before I started 6th grade, I actually rode my bike to the school and sought out the choir director to tell him that I was going to be in choir. It wasn't that great, and they probably went, get away from me, kid. But anyway, I've always had a love of music. Write songs, sing songs, play the guitar, the bass guitar, a few things. Played in bands for years. Still am involved, although much less in music these days. But one of the things that I loved about video editing is that I use music all the time. And so if you have any background in music, I find it can be very helpful because sound, I would say, is over 50% of what you see. And so if you have an establishing shot and of the woods, and let's say you hear birds chirping and the music is happy and light. If it's a major key, that would be generally considered positive as opposed to a minor key, which would be negative. That music and that sound is going to put ideas in your head as you watch a picture. And so I always strive to make sure that the music is backing up the feeling that I want a viewer to receive by watching the video, if that makes sense. Now, a lot of times, even on a television sitcom or something like that, the music is incidental. You think of Seinfeld and bring, bring, ding, ding, and they would always have a little bass lick going in or going out of a commercial, and so that music wasn't necessarily setting the mood as much as just an audio cue to the viewer that, oh, we're back, or oh, we're leaving, kind of thing now. But it was kind of fun, and it was kind of positive, and it was maybe even a little humorous, the way that the sound was and the licks that they played, and so it just maybe kept the mood light, even if they might have been, serious on screen or something. But having a musical background, and we'll go into this when we talk about the top 10 characteristics of an effective video editor. There's a technical and artistic list, and both lists talk about music, and one is about understanding the impact that music has, which is this ability to help you form thoughts, possibly very different thoughts, looking at the same footage, depending on what kind of music is being used, as well as the technical things. Do you understand what meter is? Do you understand what tempo is? The difference between what a major song sounds like and a minor bass song sounds like. And that's something that I've had also my whole life. And when I was editing news and I started, I wasn't really editing to music per se, although that is how I did get caught. I got caught by the news director one day editing video to a song that my bandmate and I had produced at a local studio. And it wasn't our song, but I had been on a shoot, and we were shooting people, at a disco dancing, and that's what this music was. It was just disco music. And so I thought, well, it would be fun to have the people dancing to this music that we did. And so that's what got me into editing, is that I thought, well, it would be fun to show these people having a good time to this music that I had just produced. And I was doing that early on a holiday, thinking that no one would be in, and the first person that walks through the door is the news director. And of course he knew who I was, and he had hired me to be a gopher, and he kind of said, well, what are you doing? And I said, nothing. And he goes, well, do you know how the machines work? And I went, yeah. So anyway, he had me edit a whole bunch of stuff that day because it was a holiday and much fewer people were coming in, and they had stories that had already been shot and voiced and ready to be edited sitting around. So he had me do some things, and the next day I was hired as a video editor. That's the real short version of it. But so music is really what got me into editing to begin with. And I rely on music constantly. I just finished a story before I recorded this. And it basically is a short biography piece about a sports athlete. And depending on what I'm trying to portray, I may need, if the athletes are from the 1920s or 30s, I will look through my resources of stock music for something that would tell the viewer it's the 20s or the 30s. Now, for people that weren't alive then, it may not mean quite as much, but even a young person would understand, well, this music sounds old, so this must be a long time ago. And someone that might be a contemporary of who this story is about would go, yeah, that sounds like the 40s, or that sounds like the 30s. So virtually any project that I start, even if it's a cut and dried, corporate marketing piece, I will think, what mood do I want to set at the beginning? Is it technology? It's almost always positive, but maybe we're starting the piece talking about a serious issue, so maybe it isn't happy, maybe it is stressful, or maybe it's even sad.
Sometimes the simplest things are the hardest.
I did some public service announcements for a center that I think they counsel on suicide or something like that. I'll call it up here and show an example of it. But as soon as you hear the music and see the shot, you know that it's serious. You might even think, well, this guy's in trouble. And if you do, then it's the music that's really telling you, because the shot is kind of neutral, as I recall. So musicality, I think, is very important, and as we get into the effective editor characteristics, the more you can understand about music, the more effectively you can use it. But that's a natural ability, I think. I also am a strong believer that life has a rhythm to it, and of course music has rhythm. But even if I'm not editing with music, I will still seek rhythms and patterns as I edit to help motivate the edits. And the way people talk can have a rhythm to it. The way things are written can have a rhythm to it. And so that musicality, I believe, is a key ability in a natural editor. In our next video, we will talk about the fourth skill, which I call logical. See you then.